I got a couple of pieces of rough cut lumber, a cherry, and then Osage orange. Now this, for an example, it's offcut from another project, but got a pretty good little old twist to it. And then this one here's got a little old twist. But why I'm choose this, they're both wider than my joiner, but this one's short, because sometimes short you have a little issue with. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to turn my thickness planer into a joiner. Stick with me and I'll show you how we're going to do it. The reason why I decided to do this video, I didn't always have a joiner. It was one of the last things I got, because there is things you can do that this one right here is probably the only thing I really got that I splurged on. Because I found that this little fella right here, that most of what I done, it was too narrow for, so I had to use that over there. To increase my workflow, I bought that 8-inch joiner. Then, because I like using rough cut lumber, it's cheaper and I can mill it down to what I want. Rough cut lumber, to me, I just got better access to it. I started with a job site table saw, one that fold up and you can roll around like a two-wheeler. That's what I started with. Then early on, I've had this little fella right here. It cuts 13 inches wide, a little rigid. It does a really good job. And it's, other than my hand tools, you know, my hand routers and stuff like that, this is the second thing I bought. So what I did, I really used it to as a joiner between the table saw and the thickness planer. So I got a little jig right there that I use, and I got a bigger one right here that I use. I'm fixing to show you how I flatten this thing out like a joiner would. Because if you was to run it through like this, it would still have the same twist. It'd be a smooth board, but it would have the same twist because the thickness planer runs off the pattern on the bottom. So if you got a smooth surface, you'll have a smooth surface when you're done here. Let me show you how we make a thickness planer into a joiner. So because a thickness planer runs off the surface on the bottom, I got me a piece of MDF, so it will be smooth and flat. And so we're going to make it the top smooth and flat. Of course, it was going to be smooth. We want it flat as well. Also, I collect these pieces right here that on offcuts and whatnot, these little shims, for this reason right here. I keep them in that little bucket right underneath the planer. Well, like I say, this thing's got a pretty good little twist to it. To save wood, I try to come up halfway. And I shim both sides. Yeah, halfway. And that way it don't take it all out. Okay. Now, most of the time, we may have to do a little something different. But most of the time, I'll fill these gaps up. This will suffice. But if you're shims go to moving on you during the process, you can tape them down or use hot glue. But a lot of times, it'll go through there just fine. But what you'll want to do is keep your eye on it during this process. That way, if they go to moving, they don't need to move. Now, I put a little cleat right here, and I run it through my thickness planer this way, because them rollers are wanting to push everything that way. I want to make sure this stays with that, so I put my cleat right there. And I usually glue it to it or something. Like, I don't usually use screws, because if something we get thin, you don't want the blades getting in them metal screws. So what we're going to do now, we're going to run this through in my little old jig. It's just under the capacity of my thickness planer, because, of course, I didn't need it for this piece. However, I can go up to 13 inches wide. A 13-inch wide joiner, it's expensive. And so this little fella here works fine. So let's go ahead and get our hearing protection. We'll go ahead and fire this thing up. Well, it looks like in this case, we're going to have to put some hot glue on it. I don't know if y'all seen them wedges moving, but a little dab of hot glue. I glue it to the board, then I glue the wedge to the sled. And this right here will keep it moving around. Every once in a while you have to do it. The vibration, it'll just take off with it. So it is what it is. Take longer for the glue to heat up than it does to actually glue it. This should be smooth and flat now. So what we need to do, it just come right off. That's what I like about the hot glue. It holds real good. However, it comes off pretty easy. I'm gonna do it as well. And what we can do with it, we can use a smaller one, a little easier to handle. It's got a little bit of rock to it. Let me get my trusted bucket out. Oh, here we go. Here you go. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and hot glue this and let's see if that ain't enough. So now we have this one all smooth. We got us a reference surface here. Yeah. Now that we got the reference surface, yeah, it's a little thinner. We'll back up and catch this, and then we'll catch this one. That being the reference surface, we'll get that smoothed out. So what I'll do, well, you can see how rough that is, but we'll come out the other side smooth. That's the way you get it flat and parallel, completely flat, smooth and parallel. I don't know if y'all notice these lines I've got. Need to change my blades. So if I put me a new set of blades and take me a fine pass, that'd be as smooth as silk. Well, I changed the blades. Them lines are gone, smooth as silk. Yeah, new blades work a lot better. So that's how I take a jig from a router, a jig from my thickness planer, and turn it into a router. See, back before I could afford the joiners, that's the way I did it, even with the smaller stuff. I kept a little sled all the time. But now that I worked a lot of overtime. So I was able to get my joiners, and that really works into your workflow, especially if you're working with rough cut lumber. A lot of times with milled lumber, you got to touch it up because it'll move and this, that, and other in the store. Of course, you can bring it to your shop, let it acclimate for a couple of weeks, and it'll move a little bit. So it's not as taxing on them blades. You don't have to change them near as often with that. But the blades aren't expensive. It just takes a few minutes to change them, if you know what I mean. But that's how I turn my thickness planer into a joiner. And if I could afford a 15-inch or a 13-inch, I don't know what sizes they come in, but I know once you get over 8-inch, it really gets expensive. Well, I appreciate you joining me today. Thought I'd do this quick video. And hope you liked it. If you do, hit that like button and leave me a comment. I read every one of them. I really appreciate it. Everybody watching and all. So I hope this helps. Until next time, y'all be safe, happy woodworking, and I'll catch you on the next one. Yep, I sure need to change them blades. Dadgummit.